What's up guys, this is Real Talk NBA. Continuing in my top 10 list by position. I already made my list of point guards, shooting guards, and small forwards, so now it's time for power forwards. I noticed in making this that this is one of the weaker positions out there, but that does not mean that there's not a lot of talent in the power forward position. Again, this is the same criteria as all the other lists, so this is a ranking based on how the players played last season, and they must have played at least half the games in order to qualify. Now, before we get this video started, as always, if you like this video, leave a like. If you like this kind of content, consider subscribing, and let's get right into it. As far as honorable mentions, I don't really know who would be a good honorable mention for this video. You could say Kevin Durant, because he did play a lot of power forward this season, but I also put him as an honorable mention in my small forward video, so I guess there's not really any honorable mentions for this one. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the real list. Starting at number 10, we got John Collins. Collins this season averaged 17, 7, and 5. He was considerably worse than he was last year, but that doesn't mean he wasn't still great. The Hawks as a whole last season did a lot better, so his decreased numbers were not detrimental to the team. And so John Collins was good enough to get the 10th spot on this list. At number 9, I got Draymond Green, someone that divides a lot of people. A lot of people think he's a lot better, a lot of people think he's a lot worse. I think he's about 9th in the league as far as power forwards. On the season, he averaged 7, 7, and 9. He was the first player ever to have more assists and rebounds than points in a season, and that's impressive, and he's also a good defender. But I just think while he is a good passer offensively, he is still very limited offensively, and that holds him back. So he gets a 9th spot on this list. At number 8, I got Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant this year was way better than anybody would have expected. After he took a gamble with a big contract on a bad team, he was either going to prove himself as a real star or fall into mediocrity, and he proved himself. Averaging 22, 4, and 3 on the season. His efficiency was not great, especially for a power forward, but considering he was on a terrible team that could not run a lot of good offense, I think he did about as good as he could. Just averaging 20 points in general was more than he ever needed to do. And he gets an 8th spot on this list. Now number 7, I got Pascal Siakam. He's another guy who had a disappointing season compared to the previous year, but that doesn't mean he was terrible. He averaged 22, 4, and 3 for the Raptors on, again, bad efficiency for a power forward. And while the Raptors did bad, I would not actually blame him. Their circumstances of having to stay in Tampa all year was hard on everybody, and I think this was just not the year for them to succeed. And while I do think Pascal Siakam does have some blame, because he would choke in a lot of key moments, he was still a great player overall throughout the season, and he gets the 7th spot on this list. Now number 6, I got Tobias Harris on the Sixers. He averaged about 19.5 points per game, as well as 7 rebounds and 4 assists. Playing for the number 1 seeded Sixers, his numbers would be held back because of the depth of the team, but he still played great throughout the whole season. I don't really have too much to say about him. I think if you know Tobias Harris, you'll understand why I put him here. Now at number 5, I got Anthony Davis. Davis had one of the worst years of his career, with his lowest scoring output since his second year and his worst field goal efficiency ever. But that is on Anthony Davis standards, so one of the worst seasons of Davis's career is still good. He averaged 22 points, 8 rebounds, and 3 assists, along with some good lockdown defense, as always. He was also held back by injuries, and if he had missed one more game, would not have qualified for this list. Hopefully next year he'll be able to bounce back a little bit, because normally he would not be close to this low on a list of power forwards. Now number 4, I have Domantas Sabonis. Sabonis this year averaged 20, 12, and 6. As far as playmaking, he's one of the best big men out there, and while the Sixers did not do too well, he was one of the bright spots throughout the season. He started off the season really hot and did slow down by the end, but overall he still had a great season. You can't deny those numbers, and he gets the 4th spot on this list. Now number 3, I have Julius Randle. Randle's another guy who surprised everybody this year, averaging 24, 10, and 6 for the Knicks and leading them into the playoffs. He was a great leader, a great scorer, and again, a great playmaker for a power forward. He won the Most Improved Player award and was well deserving of it, and he gets the third spot on this list. And now at number 2, I have Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson averaged 27 points and 7 rebounds on over 60% from the field. That's just crazy. With his volume and efficiency in the paint, there's no denying that he has a bright future in the league. He's built like a tight end and still has a 40-inch vertical. And with his crazy offensive capabilities, he gets the second spot on this list, but still comes nowhere close to the number 1 guy, that being Giannis Antetokounmpo. There's not really any competition. The 2-time MVP this season averaged 28, 11, and 6, and had he not already won the last 2 MVPs, he would have been a much more serious candidate to win the award. Physically, he's one of the most dominant players we've ever seen, especially in the modern era where there's a lot less contact than there used to be. He's built like a bodybuilder, but still is quicker and more agile than most guys on the court at once. There's no denying Giannis' greatness, and he gets the number 1 spot on this list. What do you think? Is there someone I forgot to put on this list? Or is it pretty good? Let me know in the comments. As always, if you like this video, leave a like. If you like this kind of content, consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.